Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Van. Hey, so this is my first vlog and it's actually on a presentation I gave at the UNL Tech Edge conference this last weekend, which was October 17th. This is assessing the Makerspace. Now hopefully this video will cover maybe your interest. You're wondering what is a Makerspace, or more importantly, how do you assess a Makerspace? So my goal in this is to try and answer those questions. And if not, well then thanks for watching. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so assessing the Makerspace. So really we have to look at what is the Makerspace. You know, Makerspace, we've seen all sorts of stuff on Twitter, and some of it's like, hey, it's this really cool room that's in our basement that's just filled with a bunch of stuff, raw materials like cardboard and string, Raspberry Pis and Arduinos. And that's one version of the Makerspace. And there's also versions of the Makerspace that are like a mobile cart that you can just bring in, kind of like the old AV cart, at least I remember growing up with in school. Or maybe it's just a small section of your room. But a Makerspace is an area where students have the freedom to create. And that sounds really cool. And then we start wondering, well, what do we do with that? We can't just say students create. We have to be able to grade that. There has to be a purpose to it. Well, hopefully we can find a purpose. So we look at our Makerspace and we see something like this and we're like, okay, that's very industrial. We can't do that. In fact, I think that's a pinball machine right there. I'm pretty sure of that. We don't have that in our school. But yes, this is a Makerspace. This is a very industrial Makerspace. Or maybe it's something like this. You know, here's inside the classroom. It's a little corner of the room that allows students to create, and it has all those raw materials. Or maybe it's something as small as being on a desk. So the Makerspace is awesome because the Makerspace, although it is a place, it is a concept and it's an idea. So the Makerspace is allowing student creativity, unencumbered by what we say they have to build. It allows for creativity and innovation. Well, we look at this Makerspace and we're like, okay, this is cool, I got this, my students are building stuff, but how do I do this? Well, ISTE, you know, ISTE, they have standards. And you're going, Mr. Van, those standards, I've seen them before, that's ISTE standards for students. And I say, yes, it is ISTE standards for students, but these standards work so well for the Makerspace. I mean, just look at standard number 1 right there. Creativity and innovation. I'm going to read that here for a second. Students demonstrate creative thinking, construct knowledge, and develop innovative products and processes using technology. Well, that's cool. Even if we just strike out that last part right there, using technology, this applies for everything. See, these standards are a way to guide us in what we should be helping our students achieve. We can see over here, communication and collaboration. The Makerspace is perfect for that. Your students may be working individually or they may be working in small groups, but they have to communicate and collaborate to make their ideas or accomplish their ideas. We look at standards 3 and 4 from ISTE here, research and information fluency. Well, this starts giving us an area where we can grade now. See, researching, being able to cite those sources, use digital tools to gather, evaluate, and use information, and plan strategies to guide inquiry. I mean, that's something we can now start assessing. Were they able to find information for what they're trying to complete? Number 4, of course, critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. These are observable, but we can also look at these. If we start attaching different things like writing to them, were these students able to write down their problems? Were they able to figure out their problems? Were they able to journal about it? So we look at this and we see these standards and we're like, well, and we see the Makerspace and we're like, well, does that mean we don't teach content in the Makerspace? And you know, it's dependent on how it's set up, because I've seen it set up 2 ways. The first way is it's just kind of that idea that Google has, here's 15 minutes, go do whatever. And that sounds great, but you know, kids are at school to learn. We have to remember that. I think that's something we easily forget all the time, is that kids are at school to learn. I talked about this in my keynote at UNL Tech Edge. Learning is inherently fun, but school tells or it teaches students to find learning boring. And when we look at it like that, the Makerspace can be set up to help that. The Makerspace at first can be that fun time to try out new things. But when we move on in our Makerspace, it teaches students that learning is actually far more exciting than they ever knew. What happens is students are given a goal. They have a rubric, they have a constraint really, and that goal allows them to keep, striving to it. We're not harboring their creativity, but we are encouraging them to meet a certain goal. What I love about the Makerspace is we teach practical things in it. If you're working with older kids, you're teaching tool safety. We teach creative destruction at all levels in the Makerspace. We teach basic mechanics, construction or engineering design. And most importantly, we teach that there are always multiple solutions for a problem. But we also teach things that we can grade on, like grammar and writing. What I love about the Makerspace, and I found this after really stumbling upon it, was that if I have my students actually write down instructions that other students then have to build, that's something I can assess. I can grade grammar and writing from there. They have to be able to create these clear, concise, and easy to understand instructions. We look at reading and literacy. We're teaching reading and literacy. We have students read instructions to build items or read information online. And if they don't understand something that they read, they have to then go research what they don't understand. And from there, that's reading and literacy. And then that falls into those research skills. What I really love about the Makerspace is because of our new 21st century learning, we are connected. Our students are connected. And online communities are awesome for that. Like Instructables or Make or even Pinterest. We rely on those more knowledgeable others that Vygotsky theorized about. Those more knowledgeable others are those online communities. I was in listening to a keynote by James Paul Gee, and he was talking about how when somebody doesn't understand something, they go online to learn about it. Well, what's happened is online, the internet, has connected all of these specific experts in a field. Somebody who doesn't know anything about Photoshop can go online and learn from an expert about a very specific function in Photoshop, which in turn makes them an expert and grows their knowledge and allows them to keep doing more and learning more. So we get to our Makerspace and we have the students create stuff, and we look at this, and how do we grade this? There's always, inevitably, one student who has like a pile of sticks with some paste on it, and it's kind of sitting there, and they're very proud of it. I love this image here. This is from a show called Psych, if you haven't seen it. And he was supposed to build a doghouse, right? Well, that was his inevitable creation. And it's not good. It doesn't work. So we look at that, and we're like, how do we grade this? And the simplest solution, and I know you just spent 8 minutes listening to me on this, is rubrics. Rubrics are the simplest solution. See, we can add things on rubrics that are very simple, like, did their product meet the guidelines? Did they have clear, concise writing? Was their object able to hold a certain weight? Was it functional? Is it structurally stable? And more importantly, does it work? Does it accomplish the goal that they were trying to do? One of those things about the Makerspace is creativity is awesome, but creativity when in a product that doesn't work is useless. And that's an important life skill we have to teach, is that, not all creativity is important. It has to be functional and provide some use for some person. Now, we carefully, as educators, guide students through that process. We don't just say, hey, look at this. This is awful. Redo it. We look at it and we help them see what they did was right and what they did was wrong and how they can go back and fix that. I have on there, and this is a big thing I think with the Makerspace, is having students create those instructions. So did they create clear, concise instructions? And also, can it be reproduced? So, we look at this, and we look at the Makerspace, and we know that the Makerspace should promote creativity. It has the ability, it teaches the ability to find multiple solutions to a problem. It creates tangible results, results we can actually hold, pick up, throw, things like that. And most importantly, and it's hard to see, let me move this up here. Frustration and failure are just stumbling blocks along the way to success. That is the most important thing that the Makerspace teaches us. And it's important that we remember that it isn't just all about creativity and having fun. It's that what we create has to be functional. And when it doesn't function correctly, then we have to do creative destruction, destroy what we made, and start from the beginning and start over and learn from our failure and learn from that frustration and move forward to find a solution. Thank you for watching this. As always, please subscribe for more. This is my first video, and I hope to have a new video out once a week. Have a great day. And remember, subscribe at the bottom, right there.